Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and in today's video I want to talk to you guys briefly about a few pedaling techniques I use that make me a better cyclist. Okay guys, now if you remember, I posted a video on the channel here a couple days ago where I talked to you guys about increasing your pedaling efficiency, and a couple of drills and a couple of ideas and thoughts I have on that topic in general. But in today's video, I wanted to follow that up with a look at 3 pedaling techniques that I use that not only help increase efficiency, but also can help you in cultivating more speed and cultivating more leg muscle recovery during rides, and in general, just 3 pedaling techniques that I find increase my cycling or my pedaling efficiency and increase my pedaling performance. So the first technique that I want to talk to you guys about is what often are referred to as knee thrusters, which basically it's when you are spending a duration of time. And again, for all of these examples, let's just say you're going to do 2 minutes at a time, okay? So I'm on my bike. Typically, I'm doing these on the indoor trainer. Like I mentioned in my last video, it's a lot easier to do these on the indoor trainer because you remove all of the outdoor distractions like cars, pedestrians, traffic lights, turns, just all that different stuff. Potholes in the road, you name it. There's a lot of distractions on the road, and I find the indoor trainer to be the best place to work on these pedaling techniques and pedaling efficiency aspects. So for all of these, I'm gonna basically put these in the context that I'm doing these on the indoor trainer for my practice drills, and then I try to execute these out on the road just mentally without having to focus on them with my eyesight. I'm trying to actually just focus on them mentally when I'm outdoors riding. So I use my indoor trainer as the place to visually practice these techniques, to visually see how my legs are reacting when I'm doing these techniques. And then out on the road, I try to execute these just mentally, making the mental decision to execute these pedaling techniques. So the first technique that I wanted to cover is called knee thrusters, which basically is when during the pedaling stroke, okay, you are focusing on basically thrusting your knees up towards your chest on every stroke. You're still going through the entire pedaling motion, but you're putting an increased emphasis on focusing mentally and visually on your knees and thrusting those knees up very forcefully up towards your chest as you're pedaling. And what I think you're going to find when you do these is that it's actually taking a lot of pressure off of your quad muscles and off of your glutes, and it's off of your hamstrings, off of all of your leg muscles. When you do these knee thrusters, it's giving other muscles a break, okay? And it can honestly help increase recovery while you are riding, which is going to give you a bunch of benefits, out on the road or on the trainer, wherever you're riding. But in general, all of these techniques are basically focusing on trying to give you some level of recovery while you're riding, and particularly in hard efforts. So knee thrusters is a technique I like to use. Basically, when I'm doing knee thrusters, again, I'm focusing on basically jamming. Now I'm using clipless pedals. This is an important part here. Clipless pedals are going to be necessary to perform these pedaling techniques. Probably something I should have mentioned to you guys earlier, but just so you know, this is if you have clipless pedals, because when you're thrusting your knees up very forcefully, you want to be clipped in so that your feet cannot actually come off of the pedals. But knee thrusters are a very good pedaling technique and something that I find to be very beneficial when I'm out riding. Okay guys, and the second pedaling technique I wanted to go over is, again, I think I talked about it a little bit in the last video, but using the scissor kick motion. Where again, basically when you're doing a scissor kick is you are, again, I'm just going to say, for example, my right and left leg. When my right leg is coming up to the top of the pedal stroke, and my left leg is obviously at the bottom of the pedal stroke, I'm putting a mental and physical emphasis on doing that scissor kick where I'm basically pulling up on my right leg and pushing down hard on my left leg at the very same time when they're at that opposite end of the pedal stroke. So on every pedal stroke, you're just doing a scissor kick, and you're actuating those the forces of coming up and down. And I will rotate those between right and left leg. Do opposite side scissor kicks. But again, I find these to be really good at basically. And one area where these are really good, and I found, is when you're outside riding, is when you're on a hill climb. If you're on a hill climb and you're doing, say I'll do, say 20 seconds of, right leg of, right side kicks, where I'm focusing on the right leg increase and the left leg at the bottom of the stroke. So I'll do right leg kicks, and then I'll switch to the other side, and I'll focus on the other side for 20 seconds, and I'll rotate these back and forth going up the climb. And what I find is a lot of times when I'm really into a hard effort, is it will allow me. I just find it easier to kind of maintain my high cadence and maintain my a higher power output. So this is a technique I like using on the climbs. Okay. But in general, you can use this on the flats. You can use this on any kind of terrain. But in general, just doing this scissor kick technique is another pedaling technique that I think can certainly help you guys cycling out. Okay, guys, and the last pedaling technique I wanted to cover with you guys today that certainly can give you a lot of benefits is what, again, I've heard often referred to as basically doing shoe scrapers. And again, what you're doing here, what you're focusing on when you're doing these shoe scrapers, is you are now putting your emphasis on the bottom half of the pedal stroke, and particularly the back half. When your foot goes around the pedal stroke, you come over the top, you're down through the bottom, and now when your foot is basically coming, and your foot and your pedal is coming back up the other side, okay, is putting an increased emphasis on scraping up your back legs, okay, scraping up your legs in the back of that stroke. So, as you go over the pedal stroke and you're coming back up, you're putting an emphasis, not where you're just basically allowing your leg to come up, but you're actually putting an emphasis on forcefully scraping your foot and your leg back up to the top of the stroke. So that's what you hear a lot of guys calling shoe scrapers. That's what I've heard them referred to as. It's a good name. It's basically as though you're scraping the bottom, the heel of your shoe. You're scraping your heel back up against your glutes, and you're doing that forcefully. You're putting a lot of emphasis and a lot of force on scraping on scraping your heels back up to the top of the pedal stroke real quickly and real forcefully. So these shoe scrapers, and again, I found that these basically can help you cultivate some recovery while you're riding. Again, it's going to take some pressure. It's going to take some pressure off of your quad muscles. When you're doing these techniques, it takes pressure off your quad muscles. And most riders are quad dominant when they're pedaling. And doing these shoe scrapers, even if you only do them for a minute or two on the ride, it can give you just enough recovery to get through a particular interval, or to climb up a certain hill and remain in contact with a group that you're with. And I think that you'll find, if you rotate these different pedaling techniques back and forth, you do shoe scrapers for a minute, maybe a mile down the road, you do some knee thrusters, and then a few miles down the road, you do some scissor kicks, and you just keep rotating these back and forth. It can certainly help you in group rides and in races, helping you get a little more recovery. And I like to practice these a lot when I'm out riding. Even if I'm out my own training, I will basically spend a lot of time practicing these individual techniques, and I practice them a lot on the indoor trainer. And if you practice them a lot, it basically gets to a point where you kind of do these, without even thinking about it. You just it's like muscle memory. You basically just develop a muscle memory of doing these techniques, and the next thing you know, you're pedaling a lot more efficiently, and you're cultivating more recovery to all of your leg muscles while you're riding. And it just, in my opinion, it just can make you an overall more efficient, faster rider. And I just wanted to do this short video for you guys. I hope you guys found this video informative. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. I'm going to try to continue to make more of these kind of videos where I just talk to you guys about some things that I do in my riding and some things that I believe in. So thanks again, guys, for the support in the channel. I'm really looking forward to seeing you guys in a lot of videos here this year. And until next time, happy riding and stay safe out there.